Well, love, love, love. That's what this month is about. That's what this day is about. That's what we're all about here at LEC. So I want to begin by saying I'm sure that most of you know that I was born in California, raised in California, and then I moved to Hawaii for a while, and then I moved back to California before I moved here. And in California and Hawaii, if and when the temperatures dipped into the 40s, it was an occasion for us to wear our coats and jackets. And wind or no wind, it's 40 degrees, it's cold. But even after 12 years of living here, I am still often amazed that when the temperatures rise to the 40s, midwinter, that it seems to be the occasion to put on a short sleeve t-shirt and go out and wash and wax the car. Now, you may wonder why I'm bringing this up, especially on a blustery day like today, but as I was looking at the forecast and AccuWeather and the weather that does this, like an erratic heartbeat, I was reminded that I've come to realize that it isn't where the mercury is on the thermometer, but how we feel about where it is that makes all the difference in how we experience our days. And the same is true for our chronological age. It's not really where the date and year are on the calendar, but how we feel about where that is. That influences and causes us to live our days in the way that we do. Just as the weather gives us a chance to know that there's the temperature and the real feel, our age lets us know that there's our chronological age, and then there's the real feel. So Eckhart Tolle wrote, most people don't realize that now is all there is, all there ever is. There is no past or future except as memory or anticipation in your mind. That's why it's important for us to pay attention to the now. That is all there is now or ever will be. This afternoon, 5 o'clock, will be now. Next year, it will be now. We only live in the now moment, and the only reason why we don't think that we do is because we bring a lot of stuff with us. Worries about the past, regrets about the past, whatever we feel about the past, and we bring that right into the moment and on into our future. Our mind is ageless in the present moment. I mean, even when we've forgotten why we walked into a room and what we're looking for, still, our mind is ageless. To be present where we are, wherever we are, is to be in the very place where everything that's possible in that moment is available to us. Because regret and worry can't live in the present moment without our mental support, it's never too soon or too late for spiritual revelation in the timelessness of now. Now, time on the clock, on the calendar, passes so quickly in this world, as we all know. But in a way, it makes now and living now and getting the most out of this moment even more precious. And all the more essential for us to slow down in our mind, not because we're getting older, but because we're getting wiser. We're coming to know that no matter how many years we may chalk up in this earth experience, if we don't become aware of our life as we're living it, we won't have truly lived at all while we're here. Instead, it will seem to us somewhere down the line, we may wonder why we walked into this life and what we were looking for. We're never too old to learn new tricks. No matter how long we've been saying, well, I've always been this way, it's never too late for us to choose to be another way. No matter how inflexible our physical body may seem at times, there is nothing written in stone in our mind. Every moment, right this moment, we are free to change our mind and change our life if we choose to. We came into this human experience to learn about the creative power of choice by living in a world that offers us this and that, a world of contrast where we learn what we prefer, and where what we choose reveals to us who we believe we are and what we believe life is about in that moment of choice. The spiritual teacher Mooji said it makes no sense to study everything in life and still not know the one who is studying. We came here to study ourselves, to study our spirituality by living in a human environment, to discover the depth and breadth of who we are and share the fullness of our discovery with the world. We can learn more about ourselves. We can study ourselves when we're paying attention to our thoughts and feelings as we're thinking what we're thinking and feeling what we're feeling. We can know who we are being by using that awareness to test our power of choice. When we choose to feel bad because of a situation, and our feeling bad seems to make the situation worse, we discover that the choice we make in one moment affects what happens next. And when we choose to feel good, no matter what is happening in the moment, and by feeling good, it really doesn't matter what's happening in that moment. We discover that what we choose in that moment affects what happens next. This is a time of our life, and we need to ask ourselves, How are we using it? Mooji said, use your time to discover the timeless. Use this mortal body to discover the immortal one. Now, when I mentioned the title of today's talk, Story Time, to Reverend Kim, she said, oh, goody, do we get to wear pajamas? But until we awaken to that timeless, immortal one that we are, we could say that while we're living this dream of separation, it's like we're wearing our pajamas throughout the day. And we get comfortable in those pajamas while we listen to the bedtime stories that make us dozy and tired in our mind. Stories of sickness and trauma and sorrow and victimization and powerlessness. Bedtime stories told to us by those who are unaware of who they truly are, or who we truly are, or what life is for. For example, if we were to listen to the stories on the news, we might begin to wonder how it is that there are so many people living on the planet when, if you listen to the news, more people are leaving than coming. And many of the headlines are about who just died now and how. But the good news is that we can choose to focus on the living. And we can choose to tell the story of our life while we're living it. And when we do, when we focus on each moment and we're present within it, we'll find that we're telling a love story. We read in the Shanti Christo study papers, you were created in love from before time is. We've been a timeless lover forever. But here we are, living in space and time for the sole purpose of discovering more about this amazing eternal being of love that we're created to be. This is our time to tell our story. Would anyone recognize that we are the love of God in person by the story we're telling about ourselves? Do we speak as a lover of the living, a lover of our life? Is our story about the powerful spiritual life of joy that we're living? Is that our conversation? Is that our story? Or have we used our story time up until now to tell about a vulnerable human being living in separation, at least for the time being, severed from the very love that created us before time is? I mean, how do our chapters begin? How do our conversations begin? When we see someone, do we say, ugh, you should have seen what happened to me today? And do we talk about who said what? And do we go on and on about it? Or does our story begin with, I had a great day? And do we go on and on about its greatness? We are not powerless over our thoughts and feelings unless we choose to be. We're free to choose love over human reactions, and we prove it by choosing it. It's been said, love makes your soul crawl out from its hiding place. So we might want to ask ourselves, have I been hiding my soul? Afraid to choose love in this world because I might look foolish or because I might seem uninformed in a world that often appears so unlovable? We didn't come here to write a story that belongs on the front page of a tabloid. We came to tell a fantastic love story that blesses us and the world as we tell it. So are we ready to write a spiritual expose about who we truly are and why we're here? Deepak Chopra wrote, "One day you'll realize that the whole universe can be found inside of you. And that day, you'll be a magician." The magician does not live in the world. The world lives in the magician. It's been said that our perception of life is the autobiography that we submit to the universe for publication. And the universe gives us a copy, hot off the presses, in the forms and expressions and experiences of our life. So we might want to ask ourselves this morning, how does my autobiography read so far? If we're happy with our story, then no matter what our age, we can turn the page and joyously write the next chapter. We are free to consciously use the law of attraction that governs the universe and governs this world that we live in to call to us a life that we want to tell about, a life that we want to live, a life that is filled with powerful choices for love that will transform our life as if by magic. We're the only one who can write our story. I mean, others may look at us and report to us how they perceive us, but we don't have to write one word, and we don't have to believe it. If we're still here, we're not finished with the story that we came to share with the world. If we don't want to leave mid-chapter, then there's no time to waste. Today is 2/20/2022. We're already into the second month of a whole year. That's up to you. So it's up to us to decide what we want to write next. February isn't over yet, and it's such a wonderful month to write a fresh page in our love story. Love is so freeing to feel within us and so compelling to share with everyone around us. It's as if we're addicted to love. Paramahansa Yogananda said the love of God, the love of the Spirit, is an intoxicating love. Once you prove it, you will be more and more driven to the eternal domains. How driven do we feel to choose love? The love of God is eternal. We can't limit that love even when we tell a story about temporary love, about love that doesn't last, about love that leaves, about love that we're unworthy to experience. But if we're willing to let love make our soul crawl out from where it's hiding, we'll discover that there is no fear in the love that is God, because it lives in us. It's always present in us. We can't lose that love because it's what we are. There's no fear in it becoming less or dying within us, because the more we love, the more love we feel. And the more love we feel, the more we attract into our life to love. We extend love by loving. We multiply love by loving. We grow in love by loving. And we can prove it to ourselves by loving. Once we feel the love of God, the love of the Spirit living in us and loving everyone through us, we can't help but to want to tell our love story to everyone we meet. When we're intoxicated by love, we realize that our inner being is already aglow with love. And we're willing to allow love to guide our every thought and word and action. We're willing to let love lead the way and to follow love where it leads us. Abraham Hicks said, "Your inner being is always lighting up the most delightful, most satisfying, most intoxicating, most life-giving, breath-inspiring way." We don't need to know everything there is to know about life for us to know that we feel more alive when we love. We don't need to read another sacred text to discover that love is what we are, because that discovery can only be made through our conscious desire to know the love that we are. We don't need to figure out all there is to know about the energy of love that is behind and within all that can be seen in this world for us to choose to be love while we're in it. Love is what we are. And once we prove it to ourselves, we'll find that the story of our life is a love story after all. Doesn't matter how it started. It matters what we choose to write next. The Bhagavad Gita tells us, "He who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am not lost to him, nor is he lost to me." We can never be lost to love. We can never be lost if we love. Even if we forget that love is what we are, even in our forgetfulness, the love that we are doesn't change. We were created in love from before time is. We can choose to use our story time to discover that we are timeless love. We can choose to use our pajama-clad bodies to discover the eternal being that we are right now. This is the only time of our life, here and now. It's time for us to wake up and get out of those pajamas and live the life we choose to live, to get excited about every moment and to live in happiness, love, and joy. It's our choice. We get to choose, and that's the most beautiful part of it. And that's why we're here, to know that we can. Pema Chodron wrote, "The future is completely open, and we are writing it moment to moment." Even if our future may seem to us to be shorter rather than longer as we age chronologically, it's never too late to write the love story of our life. It's a story that is unique to us. It is the autobiography of the divine. A happy ending for us in this world is up to us. But we won't get writer's block if we simply live our story one happy moment at a time. Namaste. Okay. Let's see. I feel a thank you coming on. And it feels so good. And we are so grateful here at the Life Enrichment Center for you, wherever you are. We're so grateful for everyone who is here in person. And we honor everyone, whatever you're choosing, it's the right choice for you. But one of those choices we are trusting will be to support LEC financially so that we can be here and there and everywhere telling our story of love. So if you don't know how to support LEC, or you just walked in the room and forgot why you came, our treasurer, Jamie Phillips, will let you know.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, there are a few ways to help us out financially and to support us. And if you are not in the sanctuary today, you can go to our Facebook page. You may be there right now. It's facebook.com/Life Enrichment Center, and hit the donate button. On our website, lecflint.com, you can hit the contribute button. You can go to PayPal, and our email address is lec2512@gmail.com, and donate there. You can send in a check the old-fashioned way. We take those right to the bank. And it is LEC, or Life Enrichment Center, 2512 South Dye Road, Flint, Michigan, 48532. And of course, if you're here in the sanctuary, we have our gratitude receiver, if she'd come up, Janice. Thank you. And she'll be taking the offertory here in the sanctuary. And while she's doing that, we have a gratitude song by Nemo Patel and Daniel Namad. It's called Grateful. And after that, Reverend Stephanie will be doing a delightful appreciation prayer. Thank you.